Yep, it's true. These are some odd sparks. Sparks? I don't know. They look like little wood guys to me. Hey everybody! Welcome to another review here on GGRC. Today we're taking a look at Oddsparks in automated adventure. Is it automated or automation? An automation adventure. I apologize. Got it wrong there. In this game you play as this witchy character who is building fairy buildings and trying to create like an automated, yeah, as you can see here, you know, an automated process to build objects. And you know, I'm kind of torn on this game, and I'll tell you why. I think the overall, and by the way, I want to point out that this came out semi-recently, within the last, you know, couple months or so, and it is in early access, okay? So it's an early access game, still got some ways to go. You know, as far as like, you know, final development, final release, that kind of thing. There's other big updates on the way from the developer. They've even said so in their update post, which is great on Steam here. But, you know, while it looks great, I love the aesthetic, and I love like just the overall feel of the game. There's a lot of things about it that I feel kind of detached about. I put about 2 hours into this game, which is actually usually for me a bit longer, you know, than I usually spend on a game before I talk about it on the channel. Usually I'll spend like a half hour to an hour, half hour to 45 minutes, somewhere in there, and like I'll know what I want to say about a game. But I wanted to spend a good chunk of time with this because something about it wasn't clicking, okay? And I'm not sure what that is. But before we get into all that here, let's show you what this game, you know, is all about. So, you know, it's a resource gathering game, it's a town building game, and it's a Pikmin style game. Check this out. You can throw these little guys and they'll, you know, take out trees, they'll take out, you know, little, I don't know if you call them enemies, little characters, you know, like this little bunny thing who's not hurting anybody. We'll send a couple sparks, as they call them, after him. He didn't pick up this diamond here. It's one of the things that we got to fix, I think. But, you know, we'll get into that in a minute. So, as you can see, yeah, that's what the game is. You build, and then, you know, on top of building and controlling the little Pikmin guys, you are setting them up to do things for you. So, for example, this building is attached to this gigantic tree, which will just forever be cutting wood. And you can see that up there, there's like switches, and two of these little spark guys will roll on the switches to keep the axes, you know, chopping wood, basically. Then these guys will walk the path to take the wood over to the saw blade place, which it will create sawn timber, you know, basically like timber posts, 4x4s, which are then brought over to this thing over here, another saw bench, where they'll make wooden panels, which I can now take because I need them for quests. And yes, there are quests. You'll see here that we have several quests to turn things in. We actually need 80 wooden panels to turn into the mayor here for the next village expansion, I guess. I need more wooden panels for the divine researcher guy, but I gotta make 40 stumpy sparks for him. And I need to build 2 signs for this guy here. So, let's see. What do we got in our inventory? We've got, let's see, almost 60 of those wooden panel things here. There we go. So we're at like 62 of those. Let me look at these quests again, see if we can turn one in or not. Nope, we need 80 for that. And we need 40 stumpy sparks for that. So, right out the gate with this game, I will say that, like, again, I like the aesthetic. I like the idea of it. You know, I kind of enjoy what they're trying to do here. But I feel like the experience at the beginning is disjointed. I feel like in the first 2 hours, I'm not fully understanding, we'll say, number one, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, I know I'm playing as a little witchy character, but I don't know who she is, why I'm here, what I'm doing here. and I don't understand why I'm helping this village. As far as I can tell, this is just like a cozy game, and there's not like really much in the way of like, you know, threat in the game. And you're just kind of sort of just randomly helping these people. I don't understand why I'm building this big automated thing. It just doesn't make sense to me here. One of the other things I don't like either is that when you have a quest with a character and you go up to the character, they'll tell you, hey, look in your quest log. And I'm like, okay, so I'll look at my quest log. Why doesn't she just tell me what I need to get her? Like when I talk to her, she'll be like, you could list them out right here. I say, like, don't forget, I need 80 wood planks and this and that. But instead, it's like, no, go look at your quest log. So you're making me go back to my quest log, which is annoying. Then I see here, okay, I happen to put the 160 wooden timbers in the chest. And that's the other thing. The timbers aren't just on your person. They can't just be in your inventory. So if you look at your quest and you see this, for example, like if I... there we go. You hold shift and take them away. So if I take all those back into my inventory and I check my quest, it's 0 out of 160. Even though in my inventory, you can plainly see I have that much. So you have to go to each character that you do quests for has their own chest. And I didn't understand at first, like, what the hell? Like, why are you not taking the stuff? And I'm like, oh, there's a chest next to them. So I kind of had to, like, understand why that wasn't working at first. It was kind of strange, okay? So we need 20 more of those wooden panels to give to them. Okay. Now, the other thing, too, is that, like, I don't feel like the game gives a good window into why I'm doing what I'm doing, not just like as a character or for the story, but also like, what am I building toward, right? Like, I'm automating all this wood stuff. I don't know. Like, I feel like when I started the game, like, am I missing something? Like, was there a piece of story I didn't read, or is there some lore I don't understand? Like, why am I here? Like, why am I creating all this? Just for funsies? That's what it feels like. I don't know. I mean, that's fine. But, like, I don't know. To me, I would just, like, kind of want a little bit more. We got about 6 more panels, and we'll go turn that one in for the village. So, in addition to that, though, with all the quests and everything going on, I wasn't quite sure at the jump, like, where I was supposed to go or what I was supposed to do after a certain point. So, when you get the first couple of quests, they're like, hey... build this, you know, go make some Stumpy Sparks, right? So you make the Stumpy Sparks, that's the little guys that follow you around, the little Pikmin guys. And so I do that. And I turn in the first few quests, and they're like, okay, build the logger to get all the logs from the big tree. Done. Build the saw bench so you can make all kinds of timber. Done. And then after that point, there was like this big disconnect where I was like, what am I supposed to do? I don't quite understand. So what you're supposed to do is when you turn in the first quest to the mayor and you activate this thing, or your first quest, I forget if it's the mayor or it's the oracle guy, I don't remember. But then this thing activates the village monument, and when you click on it, oh, this is where your upgrades are. Okay. I figured this out way too late. But I don't feel like the game does a good job of kind of like egging you on to continue your journey there. So I actually spent like a good crop of time in the forest, like, okay, am I supposed to find something in the forest? Am I, like, what's going on? Because I was just stuck for a while. So I was sitting here like, this game seems pretty well regarded on Steam. Like, it has pretty good positive reviews. People seem to like it. But what is it about this game that's just not clicking for me? I don't understand. And come to find out, oh, I totally missed this thing. So once I was able to activate a bunch of this stuff, it completely made sense. And actually, we can do one right now. So we have this crafty spark, which I haven't used him to do anything yet. So we'll just unlock this with him. And we got machine range 2, which I'm not sure what it did, but okay. It's the other thing, too. The communication in this game, because there's so many icons and there's so many different things that you can upgrade and build and create, that it's, in my opinion, hard to keep everything straight that you're upgrading and unlocking and stuff, right? So like you'll see here at machine range 2, luckily we can go down here and see what we got, but they're like, unlocks all workstation shrines at range 2. 3 workstations will be unlocked. I don't know what range 2 means. Is that like how far I'm into the machine tier of workstations? I don't know. I don't understand that. Like, I get this. Spark Rush. Single group. At least for the most part, I get it. Like, it unlocks the ability to rush a single group of sparks into one direction. So you can make your sparks rush. It's an ability. I get it. I don't understand this machine range talk. It doesn't make sense to me. Waypoint range. Another thing I don't understand. Unlocks fast travel to all waypoints at range 1. Okay. So everything at range 1. But what does range 1 mean? I'm not sure I understand what that means. The weird thing is that I have found a waypoint. And that waypoint is over here. The ancient waypoint. But then it just gives me this fuel indicator. It's like, I'll burn 12 of these a minute, I guess. But what to what end? For what? Why would we burning them? I don't understand. Because shouldn't it give me an example of where we can go? If you go to the map, I did find another waypoint somewhere out here. And this is the other portion of the game that you got to keep in mind too, is that there's a bit of exploration. You have to kind of like find your way to different things. See, I have some stumpy guys over here because, we'll get to this in a second, but I had one of my sawmills here, but I moved it to the other side because it didn't make sense to have it over here, even though in one of the quests it said, hey, you need to build 2 of these loggers, but according to the map, I can't get out of this, there we go. According to this, where I started my building, I only had 1 giant tree in this area, so I had to go. I was like, "Where's the next best place to build a logger for a tree? I guess over here, where the next crafty spark shrine is at." So I built this whole thing over here, which is nice because I guess if I start building over here, I'll have this eventually. But then I ended up creating the second sawmill. It's a whole thing. I ended up moving it all the way back to my other base. So to make a crafty spark, we need more wood panels, so we can make these guys here. But I don't know what the crafty spark does. I know he'll craft stuff supposedly, but like what makes him better than the other ones? And I guess there is some stuff you could read up on the characters here. These are the enemies we found so far. You've seen this one. I have not been able to kill one of these guys yet because they keep killing my armies of sparks. I got to build a couple signs, so we'll do that next for the quest. So yeah, it'll say here, a worker spark good at working in buildings. Okay, so they're better at working in buildings than these guys? Because I don't know, these guys seem like they're doing just fine. But I guess they just have better efficiency. I need a fighter. I saw in the one of the screens there was like a sword spark, and I want to unlock that guy. According to the Steam page, this game is going to have 15 to 20 hours of content. I feel like for someone like me, it might actually be more, because I feel like I'm just kind of trying to find my way around the game, if that makes sense. I don't know, like at this point, like after this video, I'll probably be closer to like a 3-hour mark, playing this game. And I still don't feel like I have a good grasp as to like my motivation or why I'm doing what I'm doing or what the payoff is, if that makes sense. We're going to grab all these panels because we need them for the quest turn-in. Let's go turn that in real quick. Let's get that done. And then we'll build some signs here. Anyway, yeah, sorry. Like, I feel like this first, 14 minutes already, it's just been me venting about the game. I hope the developer is watching, though. This is good feedback, because I do want to point out that, like, I don't think the game is bad. Like, I think it just is one of those games that, like in early access, where it's got all the makings, all of the pieces of the recipe are there. There just needs to be some sort of, like, sauce, you know, adhesive, whatever you want to call it, to bring it all together to make it work. Because it's just needs to be a little quicker, a little snappier. Like, your first hour of this game should lock you into why you're automating, why you care about doing it, why you care about getting to the next tiers. I don't feel like that is clicking with me. Like, for me, it's not just the building that's going to keep me going. It's not just the, oh, what does the next spark look like? I got to have a little bit more. And it's just not like super compelling at the moment, you know? Anyway, she says, you're such a hard worker, dearie. Thank you so much. We'll put this to good use to fix up a few things around the village. Okay, great. So we're at tier 2. Okay. So it says completed village expansion tier 2. So I guess whenever you do that, you unlock all kinds of new quests. So now I have to turn in... That's the other thing. It's these tireless quests about, like, look at how much we have to create, you know? Like, I have to come back with 160 more wooden panels. So, of course, you know, obviously the object of this game is to build your automation process to the point where you're cranking this stuff out quicker and quicker and quicker, right? And I get it. That makes sense. But to me, the game feels very checklist. Like, it's very much like, okay, now I have another quest. I better go do it. But I don't feel like I don't feel like I'm getting much in return yet, you know? And that's okay. But if you're going to sort of like captivate your players in the first couple of hours of starting a game, which is when you want to do it, arguably the first 15 minutes, really, you gotta bring it a little harder. You know what I mean? Like, things have to open a little quicker. And I know that this is one of those, like, take your time and build types of games, right? And I get that. I get that that's the style game. By the way, we're going to get all kinds of new sparks here. There's going to be, like, the choppy spark. Looks like that's the fighty guy, which is cool. But my point is, I guess with a game like this, like, if you look at the aesthetic of this game, you look at how cutesy it is, the games that I think of where you spend a lot of time building tend to have a much more, like, dark aesthetic, like adult aesthetic. I'm trying to think of, like, you know, the people, you know, the players that are interested in this style of game, are they going to want to play it with this kind of aesthetic? I don't know, because this aesthetic to me feels very cozy game. And because of that, I think that, like, people who are fans of the cozy genre are going to be expecting Animal Crossing. And Animal Crossing is very light. This feels a lot more hardcore than that. Not so much that this feels like a really, really hard to understand or hard to get game, but it's much more deep than I was actually expecting from what I saw. You know, don't judge a book by its cover, right? But when I jumped into this was definitely much deeper than I was expecting, and there's a lot more to the building and planning and everything than I was really expecting as well. But yeah, I do feel like, I guess all this to say, like, I do feel like this game needs a little bit more hand-holding in the very beginning to, like, get the player more attuned and interested and compelled by the gameplay. I hope that all makes sense. Because, like I said, all the pieces are here, and it just all needs to be more of a cohesive thing. Okay, we are going to build some signs, because that is one of our tier 2 quests, I guess. So the quests, okay, so the quests are set up by tiers, which is interesting. So they have tier 3, tier 2. And we are currently working on the tier 2. So at least that's a good indication as to, like, okay, we should get that stuff done before we move on to tier 3, right? So let's build some signs. What do you say? We go here. We have a signpost. Signpost. Customizable signpost that marks its location on your map. Okay. We also have a crossing thing. Placed at a path junction, sparks will only move forward past this sign, allowing for 2 paths across each other. Okay, so if we want to build a sign here... I get the crossing, I don't understand the sign, though. Like, I get why you would want two sparks along like the cutting path here to like cross each other. Like if you have one set going forward and one set going the other way, like I totally understand that. What was the other one? Yeah, this one, signpost. I don't understand the signpost. Is this supposed to be like a waypoint thing? So like if I rotate this sign, I can't build it because I don't have the mats. Okay. Take him as he delivers them. How many sign, or how many did it need for the sign? Two out of two. All right, so let's drop a sign. I don't know. Let's put it here, I guess. I don't know. All right, so there's an X on it, which means what? So we could put like a gem on it? But what for? What's the purpose of dropping that on there? I don't know. Alrighty, so we built one sign, which I don't understand why I would use it. And this is considered a sign, so we'll build a crossing thing here. So let's build some path stuff. So we'll kind of show you how this works too. So if we build like a, let's see, if we hit G, we want to build out this way and go here. Oh, I guess we gotta connect this. So now that's connected. And we do... No, that's not going to work for crossing, is it? This is mostly like if you're going back and forth around, right? What do we need for the other sign? I don't know if that really does anything building it there, though, does it? No, it really doesn't. I guess it would keep, like, if they were... So if they're coming from up here, they will not now take this path here. So if I connect this side of the path to something else, like if I do there, then whatever, you know, if they're grabbing wood for somewhere else, they'll grab it into this area, and they'll only go straight. So, for example, like I'll throw a guy on this path. He will go that way. Wait, he won't... Oh, yeah, because I keep forgetting I gotta... This path should auto-connect on its own. Alright, so he'll come through. He'll go around. So he'll just keep automating going around and around and around and around, just like this. There you have it. So that's how the crossing sign thing will work. And that actually did not count as a sign. So... Even though it says we'll only move forward past this sign following two paths. Okay, so that doesn't count. Alright. Fine. So we gotta build another one of those. We need 2 more timbers. Okay. Built. Alright, quest done. Let's go turn it in and see what happens. The other thing, too, is I'm not a big fan of... not like, if you look on the mini-map, it will show you where new quests are, but it does not show you, like, for example, our turn-in is up here. If you look on the mini-map, it's at this person. If you go down here, it doesn't give you, like, anything on indication on the mini-map that there's something to turn in. It tells you that there's an indication over here that there's a new quest. So, like, this guy has a new quest, so that's helpful. But if we... You know, like, actually, there's 2 to turn in. There's, like, the mayor lady, but it doesn't show them on the edges of the mini-map, which would be super helpful if it did. If you forgot what I asked to do... Oh, wait, so that isn't the turn-in? Wait, so who am I turning this into? Oh, that she's got a check mark, I see. So she's got a question mark, she's got a check mark. Check mark should be green or something. It should also be, like, at the tip of the mini-map when I'm not over there. So let's turn that in. Now we could do an item filter and a blocker. Okay. So if you want like a true idea of like what your town should look like or will look like in the future, I guess if you're willing to spend like a good 10 plus hours building it out, you go to the Steam page, check this game out, kind of see like where you'll end up, because I think for some of you out there, you'll see this as a you know, resource gathering and town building thing, and you'll think it's really cool, right? And I wouldn't blame you, because I think the team who has worked on this has done a good job with the game. However, as an early access game, you know, it's expected that it's not going to be perfect, and I think that, you know, is definitely the case here. I think, like I said, a lot of the pieces are here to make it work, but I do think it needs to kind of like go a little faster in the beginning. Most games, you know, for example, if you're playing an RPG and you're leveling up, you're going to get your first 10 levels pretty quick. But if you're leveling up to like level 50, you know, the last 10 levels are going to take you the longest. And that's kind of how this should work. You know, your first area, it should take you like an hour to build. You know, if that. Maybe a half hour. And then as you go, that's when you can, you know, ask for more materials and that kind of thing. Like some of these lists that they're asking for things, you know, like the 40 sparks, 40 panels. The other one, yeah, 160, 80. I know this is a tier 3, but the other ones you already saw me turn in at tier 2. Those were just tier 2. Like, tier 1 and 2 should be easy turn-ins. Tier 3 should be, like, when they start really demanding a bit more, but not too much more. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm just not understanding, but, you know, it's not like my experience with this game is terrible or anything. It's just, man, for a game that claims to be like an automated adventure, I feel like I'm doing much more manual stuff than anything automated. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But like I said, check out the trailer. The trailer will give you a good indication of like what your town will look like. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is like, you'll notice in the loading screen that it says something about multiplayer is in beta down here at the bottom. So I also think that if you were playing with other people, you're going to be able to figure out and do these things much quicker. You know, if you're playing with a friend online, you're going to be building things together, you're going to be communicating, and you're going to be good to go. You know what I mean? Playing alone, I'm trying to figure everything out. I'm trying to build everything. I'm trying to explore the whole land on my own. And I feel like that's what's taking up most of my time. Obviously it's taking up most of my time. But what I'm saying is it's taking up way more time doing it on my own than it would have if I had like a friend with me, right? But anyway, that's where we're at. Like, this is Oddsparks. I know that I've spent like the past half hour kind of dogging it and being kind of negative and venting about the game. But for the most part, like, I don't think this is a bad game. I just think that like there needs to be something there to kind of like tie the experience together. And to kind of jumpstart you a little bit better, and to be a little bit more intuitive as well. You know, one of the things, like, for example, like we were just talking about the mini-map, even when I'm out here, it doesn't show me where my village of stuff is on the mini-map, so I have no idea where I am. It also doesn't show like previously discovered stuff, and this might be all stuff that they're working on in the background. These might be quality of life things that they're working on to add to early access, so I really hope that they do. You know, when they add in another big update and they make changes, maybe I'll come back to it. You know, maybe we'll show this game off again to kind of see where it's at in a few months or something, or whatever, maybe at the end of the year. I'm not sure when release date is for this, but either way, not a bad game. Just needs a bit more TLC, obviously, because it's an early access. For an early access game, I think this is cool. I just wish it kind of like jump-started me a little bit better, because it's not fully clicking in my brain. But anyways, guys, that is Oddsparks, an automation adventure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.